Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Three Things We Learned. Of course, the setup looks a little bit different for this. I'm trying to get up as quickly as possible, trying to get a review, the Three Things We Learned out before it becomes irrelevant, and so that I can capitalise on the clicks as quickly as possible. You've got to respect the hustle, that's how it's done here on YouTube. It's a business-orientated world at times, but we're going to try and go for it anyway. Celtic 2, St Mirren 1 at St Mirren Park, in a game which was, let's be quite honest, let's cut to the chase, one of the most boring performances, one of the most boring games we're going to watch throughout the entire season. I was falling asleep watching it. St Mirren took the lead very early on, scare, and we'll talk about the goal, we'll talk about how we conceded that goal. They went up 1-0, and then within the first half we managed to pull it back, go up 2-1 and through two decent enough goals. Shane Duffy and James Forrest, both headed goals, to give us a lead going into half-time, and then a second half which was lifeless. It was quite horrible to watch. You've just got to be honest about it. There was not really a lot of positives to bring up from the game itself, apart from that we got the 3 points. And I guess at the end of the day, when you think about it with the schedule congestion that we've got coming, and the Europa League qualifiers and everything else that's going to be thrown in, at the end of the day, 3 points is what you're looking for. That is the most important thing. We've got to rotate, we've got to look for different options. We're playing teams who are always going to be defensive against us. At the end of the day, 3 points is what you want. But from today's game, there was more negatives than positives. I'm not going to shy away from that just because we got 3 points. Yes, I'm chuffed that we have now closed that gap between us and Rangers at the top of the table, but there's things we need to work on moving forward this season when we find ourselves in the same situations, because Celtic today could have very easily lost out on 3 points. 2-1 away from home, with so much left to go in the game, is not good enough. You know, we need a cushion. You've seen how we played against Ross County, but we're 3-0 up at half time. Perfect. You know at that point the game's over. You can sit there and watch the second half, as boring as it is, with at least the thought in your head that you're taking the win home. But when you're watching a boring performance and Celtic don't look like they're going to score, and you're only 1 goal ahead with the whole half to go, and as time goes on and it gets shorter and shorter, you can think all it takes is St Mirren to go forward 1 chance and that's it. You've thrown away 3 points. So there are things to work on, but it was good to get the squad changed around, other players coming in, and we'll talk about that within the 3 things we learned. It was surprising to see Forrest score a header. Scott Brown's laugh said it all for me. When do you ever see Forrest score a header? But Shane Duffy once again stepping up and getting his second goal for Celtic. 2-2 now for him. And I've seen an interesting tweet on Twitter. Look, if Duffy gets the chances that Julian got last year in the air, including the ones that he scored and missed, Duffy's going to score about 15 goals this year. He's better at heading the ball towards goal than what Julian is. So it's interesting to say the least. Anyway, a decent result, but let's dive into the 3 things we learned from today's game as we go up in the table, 2nd place, 3 points behind Rangers, heading into the game against Livingston at the weekend. Thing number 1 we learned is, defensively we still have a long way to go. We're not perfect. Even with the signing of Shane Duffy, there is a lot to work on there, and that was evident through the goal we conceded, you know, in the 2nd or 3rd minute of the game. The corner, or the cross, sorry, that came in, was not defended well at all, and they got their goal from it. And of course we can always blame individuals, and we can always look, you know, at the weekend I went on about Julian. I went on about how, you know, he was rotten, he looked so nervous compared to the likes of Duffy beside him who looked confident. Look, we can say that as much as we like, but we dropped Julian today. I said he should have been dropped, he was dropped. After seeing that, I was thinking to myself, should we have dropped him? Would he deal with that? And, you know, a lot of things get you thinking. But defensively, we've still got a long way to go. Duffy, I thought, throughout the game looked decent. I'm not going to sit here and once again claim that the sun shines at his backside, because it's Shane Duffy and we've just signed him and he's from the Premier League. There are bits that he can work on too, but throughout the game, Duffy looked good at kind of filling in those gaps that people were leaving. He would see spaces where St Mirren players could go into to cause problems, maybe cause something dangerous, and he would get in there and sure it never happened. That was when he's off the ball. On the ball, he did look better than El Ahmed and Ayer too, I think, but as a free, you can see the problems at times, and today I don't think it was as evident as what, say, Julian was at the weekend against Ross County, but it was just a goal that spoke a lot. From there, of course, we never conceded. It was the only goal we conceded in the game. Good enough, you know, we sorted the problems, we shut up shop, and we made sure we never conceded later on in the game to cause us to be in a situation going level again with them. But it's just, the situation is there, we need to work on it in training. These situations we find ourselves in against St Mirren are the kind of situations that teams like Rangers and European teams will just take us for, you know, they'll have us for breakfast. We cannot have these issues in the bigger games, and we need to suss them out now and work on them now so they're not there for those bigger games. We're lucky enough that St Mirren don't possess the attacking quality that these other teams do. Lee Erwin, yes, he scored today. Last season, what, 1 goal? You know, it's a different story when you're playing against Alfredo Morelos, or you're playing against Kemar Roof, or you're playing against anybody in Europe, be it Chiro Immobile or whoever's the striker for Riga that we could be playing next week. It's just a different box of frogs, and they will convert chances that we give them through poor defending and mistakes. So we need to work on that. We're far from perfect. We are getting there. I think Duffy has added so much to that back line, but there is so much more we need to do to ensure that it's... We're never going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect, but close to perfect is what I'm looking for. Second thing I think we learned is Celtic need to get their act together in the final moments of a game. The final, not even final moments. I'm talking the whole second half today. The thing that I learned is we have no killer instinct. Celtic's killer instinct is 0 to none. 0 to none? That makes no sense. Slim to none. We had so long in the game and so much quality on the park to go and finish that, and we had chances and we just never took them. And what summed it up for me, what epitomised it all for me, was Edouard. That penalty. Gets the penalty, you're thinking to yourself, Edouard normally steps up, scores, so he should be getting it here. He was far too casual. It's one of the poorest penalties. Let's not sugarcoat it. It was embarrassing, to be quite honest, from Edouard. And it's like he's taking the opposition for granted. You know, he's disrespecting him a tad. There's this soft, cushioned finish that he thinks is going to go past Lamal, and it doesn't. And number one, before I go any further, can I just get us out of the way? Lamal today, St Mirren Player of the Year, even though he's only going to be there another couple of days. My God, what a performance he had. But that epitomised it all for me. We treat these teams with so much disrespect at times. You should be putting your laces through that and blasting the net to kill the game. You're 2-1 up in a game in hand, which is there to close the gap between your rivals, and you're doing that with a penalty. No, blast it, bust the net. And other chances we've got as well. We do too much. We do all these wee fancy flicks in the box. Just try and get it in the back of the net. Use the killer instinct. And when you're 2-3 goals up, then try and be a bit more creative. Maybe a wee bit more entertaining and flamboyant then. Kill the game off first. Get that killer instinct. And I think that might be a big difference between us and Rangers at the minute. I think they could potentially be a little more ruthless in this. We're a better team technically, I think. I think we'll see over the next couple of weeks when we get back to the top of the table, we are a better team. But the killer instinct in Rangers' side, I think, just get the ball in the back of the net is probably just ahead of ours, and we need to get that installed in our team. And yes, when people saying, Ryan, what are you talking about? We just won 5-0, we beat Motherwell 5-0 as well, and we're scoring goals. Yep, we get it, but when we're in the situation we're only 1 goal up, we see against Kilmarnock, well, it's annoying. It's just that penalty really riled me up. I just want to see us put it in the back of the net with any means necessary. Just blast it. Get a wee bit of indiction behind it. And finally, I'll end on a positive. The third thing I think we learned from today is this transfer window has been incredibly successful. And you'll be maybe saying to yourself, what has made you gather that from today's game? Today, when the lineup was announced, there was so many more changes from the game at the weekend that I anticipated. I pretty much expected Lennon to field the exact same team. Maybe 1 or 2 changes, but there was a lot of changes. El Ahmed came in, Taylor came in, we've seen Christie come back in, Ayeti started, Kamala started over Ayeti. There was a lot of changes made to the starting 11. And my first instinct looking at it was, my God, oh no, that's not... And then I thought to myself, this is the first time in a long time we have had the depth in our squad to field a team that was just as good, perhaps, maybe not as, but a good team that was changed from the weekend. You know, we played a team at the weekend which was probably our best 11, but we fielded a team tonight with that many changes, and it was still a team I looked at and went, that's a good team. And that is down to the depth that we've added in the side and the development of players also. So it's great. I feel like this window has added a lot to the team. It's given us a lot more options. Rotation's going to be a lot easier, and that comes into the same kind of situation as where you can change now from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-5-2, whatever you like, because we've got the players to do so. If we need to change the system to suit El Yunusi coming on in a game we feel we could, and we're confident about, then yes, we can do that. And that is all down to the signings and stuff that we've made this summer. So I think that was the third thing I learned from today, and it might have not been evident in the game itself, but when you look at that lineup that was shown at the start of the game, that was automatically my thought. So aye, that was it. That's the 3 things that I learned from today. Anyway, that does it. If you have enjoyed, you know what to do. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. A win at the end of the day is exactly what you're looking for, and I'll be happy if we just continue now with the game against Livingston at the weekend, get another 3 points, then go on and win our final game in hand whenever that is. is and get ourselves on par with Rangers at the top of the table. Ultimately, we were looked at the start of the season as a team who were on the downward slope, but with these wins and such, I'm hoping that we'll prove that myth to be false. And I think, you know, there's not much else apart from the last two results that we need to show that, because it's 6 points at the end of the day. And despite it being incredibly boring today, you get it all the time. It happens every year. You can't go out every single game, especially when you're playing every 3 days, and score 5 goals. It's not going to happen. That it's just the reality of football, and you're not going to do it. Eduardo isn't going to score hat tricks week in, week out. No, not going to happen. So, I'm pretty happy with tonight's result, and hopefully we pick up at the weekend. So, like and subscribe as I said, and I'll see you all next time.